but this is very common and it's got to be addressed. This is a married scenario. Okay. So why do small things become huge issues in a fight? And he says, oh, I was just mad when I said that. Yes. Do I want to address this? Okay, here's the thing. The reason this happens is because, in my opinion, without knowing a ton more, probably this guy is not good at vocalizing that the small things annoy him in real time while they're small. So they collect and they snowball until one of those small things is just too big of a snowball of many small things, and then he erupts. And then he feels a little crazy because he went so nuts over the idea that, you never unload the dishwasher. So it sounds ridiculous, but it's the idea that he's always competing. So I'm competing with the sound. There's a sound outside. Anyway, it's the idea that he doesn't feel comfortable vocalizing his frustrations in real time. And so I see this all the time. Part of the reason, and so I asked, I said, so does this, when he does vocalize his concerns, his frustrations, I'm going to guess you come back in one of two ways. Do you come across as a ball of fire? Do you bark back at him in a way that he's just like afraid to bring those things up more often? Or are you dismissive to the point where maybe he feels like you don't even listen? Like, hey, this really bothers me. You're like, yeah, whatever, I'll get to it. I'll remember next time. And then you don't. Who cares? Because you don't listen to it. And the response was, he fears me. Kind of knew that. And I don't know this couple super well, but I was not surprised to hear it say, he fears me. Because here's the thing, and we're going to get right into this. Here's one thing I've seen that kills me about guys as they kind of lose their teeth in relationships. They become so soft that it's not, it's killer to watch. Part of the reason that guys lose their teeth and they lose their ability to vocalize their concerns is because guys can begin to see relationships as a binary opportunity. Either I accept this relationship exactly the way it appears to me, and however this wife is for me, however she is, that's it. And I'm just so glad to have it. It's part of my identity. It validates me as a man. I'm not just some single guy out here bouncing around. I have a wife. I have, kids or kids on the way. I'm a legitimate man because I have this relationship, and it becomes synonymous with who they are. So they feel they have to accept it as it is, because if they have some pushback, then it might just go away. Now, if a guy is afraid that any sort of pushback is going to result in the relationship ending, then what is that going to do? It's very obvious. He's never going to push anything at all. He's not going to try to create change, because it's either take it as it is or leave it. Leave the whole thing. So I highly recommend, it's all about the short game. Just like in dating, it's all about the small talk to some degree. You got to be able to hang out. It's not just going on cool trips or going to expensive restaurants. It's the small game. It's the conversation, the day-to-day. How are you? How are things? How do you feel about this? Hey, I got this thing going on. I want to run it by you. Increase the ability to talk about little things. Let the relationship be flexible, malleable. For the lady here, if his frustrations result in fearing you, maybe take a breath when he comes up with things that frustrate you, because you've got to be not so binary about it as well. You've got to be able to hear the things that are bothering him and say, you know what, I've had a long day. I've been, the kids and this and that. I don't want to hear a thing, but you do make a point. Okay, I could be better about whatever it is. I don't know, flushing the toilet, whatever it is. Be flexible, be able to hear it without barking back at him with either, I don't have time to listen to this, or, well, you know what, maybe if you learn to, and you have something like ready to throw back at him that he needs to, let it be a conversation, because you can't have a fear-based relationship for the majority of your life. You just can't. It's not good for anybody. So I think rather than, you just being ready to blow fire at him and him, like hiding in your shadows when it comes time to the real things, deal with the small things in real time while they're small, because most things are going to be small. And that's the great thing. They're manageable while they're small. Deal with them. And if you want to send in, I'm always happy to hear about examples of small things and how do we, because that's fine too. Sometimes it might be a little bit of figuring out how to negotiate the small things. And it's not that hard, like with Chelsea and I do dishes, she does laundry. That's how we do it. That we broke down some of the chores because I think she's really bad at doing the dishes. That's why. I think when she does the dishes, they don't get very clean. And I am a little psychotic. I'm a little OCD crazy. I like dishes cleaner than they probably, it's beyond clean. Anyway, and I'm not persistent with laundry. I would let it go way too long. It wouldn't get done. And so she's great about that. Between the two of us, we found things that work for us each. And now things are harmonious when it comes to something that is basically little but could have been big. So yeah, keep me in the loop on this. That's my advice. Keep little fast in real time, and then it stays little, and then you get momentum, and then little things just come and go, and before you know it, you get a nice little rhythm. And I can't go without saying on the small things talk, not only is it good to begin addressing them in real time, but if you don't, here's what's on the other side of that coin. If you don't address the small things while they're small, it will lead to resentment. It'll boil up. These small eruptions, these responding with fire. This is resentment. This will grow in a relationship and it won't get any prettier. It will become the expectation, and then it will lead to bouts of silence. It will lead to passing each other in the hallway and not talking to each other. It will lead to an assumption that communication is not an option. And this will lead to division. As time goes on, it will lead to division. So this is not just hey, this is something that would be kind of cool, we should consider. This is for real. Get on this. Like, you have to do this. You have no choice because you're committed, and this is something you want to work out, and this is about your life and the relationship and this other person's life. There are 3 important things to consider here that have to be improved so that everyone can have a better life. You don't want to deal with the division that will come from not fixing this early. Let me know how that goes, and I want to hear more.